Welcome to Spurs Vision TV. Good morning, good
Hey,
afternoon, good evening to
Keshav.
you. Yeah, Keshav's here too. To all you guys around the world, right? So
Hi.
today is going to be an interesting show because there's lots to talk about, right? And let's see how many other fans we're getting from. All right, Keshav's from West Ham. I guess he should be happy today, right? So his team won, right, against Sheffield United. Uh,
Hey.
but before we head on to anywhere else, I need to say a few things before we go any further, right? Because this is what I'm gonna say first, then later you guys will come in because not all of you are in yet, right? Uh okay. Okay, let me bring in one more guest. Manny. Hi Manny. All well, everyone well?
Yeah, all
Oh,
good.
Uh,
All
oh
good.
well, oh well.
yeah. Keshav's good too, I guess.
All
Keshav.
ship
All
shape,
right,
ship,
all right.
ship shape
All right,
and
guys, it's
Bristol
time to go.
fashion, as they would say.
Uh, let me say this first, right? I'll start first. As you can see down there is PGMOL, right? What happened on Saturday is a farce, right? We all know that. The lines drawn, not drawn, the goal not given, the red cards and all that, right? To tell the truth, what happens has already happened, okay? Right? The ball has moved forward. We have to go on, right? Instead of, I don't understand why there's still so much an uproar about it. Of course, there is an uproar about it because it's too much of a blatant mistake, right? Where people hopefully can understand people make mistakes, but sometimes I think what VAR has brought in is actually VAR being brought in now is actually exposing the problems that we have with our refereeing. You know what I'm saying? Not whether it's biasness or whatever, the conspiracy theories behind it, right? Uh, big up to Lakshan Kumar. Big up. How you doing, guys? All right. Big up to you. Right. So I'll bring in Prithvi too. At this time and this moment, this has gone to a stage, I guess, whether it's been overly hyped, overly talked about, overly done, right? But at least the PGMOL has came out with that recording. I'm sure everyone here has heard that recording, right? So I guess it all comes down to human error, where the miscommunication, they didn't clarify what they were talking about. Maybe they won't focus, right? Because maybe, I don't know, we're all human. Something was going on there, so we won't have to look too much into it. But the part is that at this moment in time now, Liverpool is pressing it very hard, right? And they want some kind of solution to this. And somehow or another, I still don't understand why they can't move on. Okay, because if we go into the record, the advantages that has been given to Liverpool all these years, we all know that, and we don't want
Oh
to go
yeah.
to it, right? We if you want to bring out all the receipts, right, and start comparing and how would you say, looking at this, looking at that, looking at this, looking at that, that is one part. And the worst part is that if they're pressing for a replay, which I think has not actually been given before in any circumstances in the history, right? Apart for that one time, if I'm not mistaken, there was an FA Cup final or something like that where how would you say, uh Arsene Wenger actually authorized that replay, right? I think it was some Arsenal against Sheffield United, something long time ago, right? That was a long
Yes.
time ago. Yeah, yeah. So big up Brian Daigle, big up. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing
Hey,
well.
oh, Brian.
Brian is back in Canada now. It's about 10 a.m. his time now, so he's awake. That's good, Brian. Big up, big up. All right. I hope the jet lag hasn't hit you too bad, and hope you're enjoying your time with Ilana. And yeah, Popeyes is good again in Toronto. Right. But coming back to this scenario, what happened on Saturday? Even while I was watching the game, right, what I saw is that it was a blatant, obvious error, and somehow or another, I thought the referees would stop it and bring it back and rectify the error, but it didn't happen. So I guess with the recording coming out today, we more or less understand why that happened. So if someone actually had enough balls and stopped the game, but they say they can't stop the game, right? So I guess what a lot of people were clamoring that VAR is not working, VAR is the problem. To tell you the truth, right, guys, VAR. Yeah, big up, Billy. Billy will be coming in soon too. Billy is the Liverpool fan. VAR is not the problem. The people operating VAR is the problem, right? So let's hope we'll move on from there. Okay, let's hope we'll move on from there. We'll wait for Uncle Rods to come in, Billy to come in. Then most probably we'll continue on, right? But before that, let me get some of your thoughts on this scenario that's happened last weekend, right? The PGMOL. Let me get to Arthur first. Arthur, your thoughts on the PGMOL, and the reactions of the fans. And the worst part is that while all this is happening, there is this racist attack against Udoji and all that. Shouldn't that be more important, right? Apart from just a football game, right, and the results.
Well, firstly, let's take Udoji. Yes, um, there were black players on both sides. So why would they pick on him and racially abuse him? Um, because he plays for Spurs, and they were upset over the result, as we would have been had it been reversed. But we've got to remember one thing: Spurs have had things like this go on against them uh, from Liverpool, from Arsenal, from other teams, and we've had to put up with it and roll with the punches. So why doesn't Liverpool shut up and just get on with the rest of the season? It's if they make us play again, right, then there's some special thing happening where Liverpool's concerned. Brown envelopes perhaps. No, you've got it. The result is the result. You've got to just stick it in your pocket and put up with it. There's no good crying like this. It's not going to change. If it does, then there's something really bent about the way the game's played.
That's true. That's true. And furthermore, to tell the truth, right? Uh, in the end of the day, right, things will even itself. Things will even itself out. In the end of the day, things will always even itself out, right?
Always does.
Yeah, every club will get bad decisions against them, right? There is no club that gets 100% correct decisions against them or for them or against them or whatever. So in the day, events will even out themselves, and sometimes you can see it. Actually, the referees will even it out themselves along the way. So that's how I see it, right? And Keshaf, your thoughts? Did you watch the game?
No, I didn't watch the game. I
But
watched the highlights. Basically, from my own perspective, from the highlights, I thought it was a good game. I thought two sides competing well.
Yeah.
And I was quite impressed with how good Spurs were, because I think if you look at Spurs this season, it's interesting to see how they become very intelligent in terms of their tactics, how to know when they press the ball, how to know when to get into the right areas or score. But if you ask me my own perception of the game, I also thought Liverpool played well. They had very good
Yeah.
chances to score. And coming to the PGMO, there's going to be a lot of opinions, and some people will not agree with each other, which I can completely understand. But let's be honest. I think in a way, good that Spurs won. I'm sure from Spurs fan point of view, but also I think I want to ask: do you think Liverpool are robbed? Because I think Klopp has come out in his press conference saying that Liverpool should get a replay, which I think I disagree with him in the sense that I don't think any replays have happened. I think so far in the Premier League, if it's concerned, there's 38 games, 19 away, 19 at home. So this is the first time I'm actually hearing Klopp saying, to have a replay, which I think it's a bit too much if you ask me. You lost the game of football, and I know, this is the first. It's been quite a long time since Spurs won against Liverpool. So, look, I think Liverpool have to move on. You can't do much about it. I think right now Liverpool have to go back to winning ways in the next game. And yeah, I got nothing more to say really. I think some people are going to say
Keshaf,
lucky
Kesha,
and
I'm going to ask you a question, right? How did your brother feel? Because your brother's a Liverpool fan, right? I'm sure he will be,
yeah, I spoke to him and he said that Liverpool played very well and he was very upset in regards to the decisions made by PGMOL referees especially, and this talk about referees making wrong decisions and offside rules and VAR and all these things. I think sometimes it's best to. I mean, you see the audio recording coming out of from the regarding the offside decision. I mean, we've had many times, or there's been quite a lot of times these past few seasons where there's been VAR decisions made which has gone wrong, offside decisions. All these things have to. This is part of football. You'll get things wrong. So,
Mm,
I mean, I
okay.
don't. I know the referees have got years of experience in VAR and in the football industry, but to make the kind of mistake, I think you know it's a bit of careless, and they didn't seem to make the right call. If you ask me, according my brother said that they should have looked at it again and they should have properly reviewed this decision. And look, sometimes the decisions being are sort of unfair, to be honest, and maybe this, for according to Liverpool fans, this would have gone the way they didn't want to really. So yeah.
Kashav, can I just jump in there? I said to Eugene in the back room, I said, the one that really sticks out for me, and I use it as an example, is when we were in Champions League final with Liverpool. That was not a handball. I saw it in close-up again the other day. That was no handball. So we'll have the Championship final replayed if he does that. It's fair comment, isn't it? That's fair comment, isn't it?
How about Mendes against Man United all those years ago? That
Yeah.
over the line.
Oh, what? 3 feet? 3 feet over the line?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hi, Harry. How are you doing?
Hey, you're right.
Guys, okay. Now we're just coming to the PGML. We're not even talking about the game yet, right? Because to tell you the truth, you will find my view of the game very, 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 I think, interesting, right? But let me go through the PGML scenario now, okay? The PGML, what they've done, it's done, right? But the problem is that, right, how are they going to rectify this thing? Of course, the replay will never happen, because if they set that precedent, right, and if every match somebody's not happy with the results and the referees get blamed, right, is it going to go into replay? That will cause havoc and chaos throughout the whole season and the league, right? Okay, let me get to Mani. Mani, your thoughts on the PGML?
You've pretty much summed up what I think of it. It's not the technology that's wrong; it's the application of it that's absolutely abysmal. And I was speaking about this with a few friends of mine on the stream yesterday, or it could have been the day before, I forget which. And I think one of the issues that really grates is that the punishment for this level of incompetence is just effectively being stripped of your duties for one game. If players are found guilty of very serious foul play, as it could very well prove to be the case for Curtis Jones, although from what I was watching, I mean, obviously he did sort of try to go in with his studs, which was unfortunate, but it was a genuine attempt to win the ball and not to crush Yves Bissouma's ankle. His stud slid on the ball and it went into his ankle. So it looked absolutely horrible. There's no denying that. But Stephen Stubbs, the stat man, I was on his watch along, and obviously he was absolutely apoplectic. And watching it again and again and again, I see a lot of people on Twitter, Eugene, who have been only too happy to, propose a freeze frame of Jones's right foot almost going into Bissouma's ankle, saying this is a deserved red card. But pictures may be worth 1,000 words, but they don't tell the whole story. And sometimes you have to see a video to make any sense of it. I do wonder if Liverpool are going to appeal those decisions. They could possibly try and appeal the Jones one, but it won't be successful.
The Jones one, no, Mani. The Jones one has already been rejected. The ban stands. The red card stands.
Okay.
Yeah. They've appealed and it's already been rejected, right? So I guess, like you said, right, it's always on the context and all that. But whenever in the flow of the play, right, that can be considered dangerous play because of the height of the challenge. It doesn't matter
Absolutely.
whether you're going for the ball or not. You get what I'm saying? Or not? If it was the height of the challenge and
Yeah.
it's a leg breaker, you get what I'm saying, Manny? It's a leg breaker kind of a challenge. So I guess that's why the ref gave it
It,
after he went back to
it
see the
is.
video. But
It,
yeah, yeah. But
yeah, but
sometimes, like I said,
I mean, there have been several. Go ahead, sir.
no, go ahead. No, go. You go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead,
please.
Manny.
I don't want to interrupt your train of thought. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay. You go ahead. You go ahead first.
Yeah, I think what you're saying. I think probably what I was about to say, and maybe what you're coming to, is that sometimes people take a lot of certain mitigating circumstances into question, and there have been similar tackles which ended up, not being. I mean, for which the players were barely given a slap on the wrist in comparison. But going back to what I was saying, whenever there's serious foul play, you see players getting suspended for 3 games. If there is a case of serious incompetence, as there was with the Luis Diaz decision, where the lines weren't drawn properly and he was completely onside for that goal, which would almost certainly have changed, the momentum and the outcome of the game. I mean, I know I always say that if ifs and buts were sweets and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. But it cannot be denied that that particular goal at that time could almost certainly have turned the tide in some way or another. Of course, I think Liverpool did equalise through Cody Gakpo in that same half anyway. But, a lot of these things do come into question. And I suppose managers do have a right to protest incompetence from the referees. You mentioned how Arsenal were willing to grant Sheffield United a replay of that FA Cup match, but that was really, I think, only after the fact, because people saw what was deemed to be a piece of, foul play or unsportsmanlike conduct, which went unpunished. And Wenger was, of course, trying to be the good gentleman and say, you know what, we're willing to offer you a replay if that's what you want. And, of course, in the FA Cup, as we all know, replays have been commonplace. I don't think they are now, though. I think if you draw the game, it goes straight. It goes to extra time and then penalties.
Those were the days. Those were the days where the fixture congestion wasn't a big thing, right? Before going, right?
Exactly.
Big up to Chris Akamba. Big up. Right, and
Chris.
hey, Jordan, how you doing? Right, coming back to that scenario, right? Where you said replay and all that. Like I said, if they do go to replay, right, this will be, I think, the whole league will go into chaos kind of scenario, because that doesn't set a good precedent for any kind of scenario for replay.
Exactly. It'll open up it'll open up a can of worms, and I'm not in favor of that. And that's the reason why I always say that, in as much as we have a right to be irritated with the decisions made and the absolute incompetence with which those decisions were made, sometimes in life you've got to take the rough with the smooth. And, it's like what Sylvester Stallone said in Rocky. Neither you nor me nor anyone else is going to hit you as hard as life will hit you. And in life, sometimes you're going to get injustice as well as justice. But it's about how hard you can get hit and move forward. And that's how you win. And I'm really glad to see Uncle Rod's in, because one thing which I will say, one thing which I will say right now is that based on the match, I was very impressed with how Liverpool were able to weather that storm and obviously try to play to win with 10 men.
We'll come to the match later, right? We'll have a long talk about the match. Yeah,
agreed.
Okay.
But I will say that with the way Liverpool played, if they're able to, because I mean they've had sendings off earlier this season and gone on to win those games, and I think for the fight they've shown and the improvement they've shown, especially replacing TAA with Joe Gomez for a start, I think if they're able to continue this fight, they should definitely be up there as one of the favourites to win the league. So if I were in their situation, I would say, you know what, it's a case of us against the world. We just need to double down and fight a little bit harder. And I'll also mention that last season we had a similar incident when we played Brentford at the Emirates, where the lines were not properly drawn, and I believe that led to one of our goals. I think it might have been a Brentford goal that was incorrectly given. I don't quite remember that, but a lot of us were hopping mad. But frankly, if you take a look at that match in its entirety, Brentford was strong on the counter-attack. They could very easily have scored on 3 occasions. We were lucky to get something out of that. And yet many of us Arsenal fans were hopping mad at that. I say to those people, these were the same people who were puffing with their chest, speaking with pride about how, we were top of the league and we were going to win the league at a canter and we should be really proud of the boys. Nobody can take us down. And then when the slightest bit of adversity comes our way, we whine and moan like a bunch of babies. It's ridiculous. As I've said, you've got to take the rough with the smooth. I think Liverpool should actually come out a better team from this, but I don't want to see a replay. But what I would want to see is more severe punishments for those officials who engage in that level of incompetence. Instead of just banning them for one game, ban them for 3 games. And especially if it's been found out that at least one of those officials was found to have been working in the UAE and then jetting back to England to come and take up his duties for that. Look, I have no problems with people wanting to work 2 jobs because, of course, times are tough. And when I was growing up in the UK, my dad, who was a doctor in the NHS, had to work at 2 different hospitals just to earn some money to make to provide a good life for his wife and us 3 children, myself and my 2 sisters. But if you want to do that, you have to accept that you cannot let your commitment and your efficiency drop, because if you do that, then you have to be prepared to accept the backlash, and those people deserve all the backlash that they can get. So these officials and referees have got to be put on watch. Any more muck-ups like this, and the punishment should be even more severe. And yet, because we all know about how everyone's in cahoots with one another at the top, and the fish is completely rotten from the head down, and everything is rendered rotten as a result, I don't think these officials are going to get anything more than a stupid slap on the wrist. It's going to take a lot more to weed this out. Maybe the threat of an even greater punishment will make these idiots get their act together. And I'm sorry for using that word, but that's exactly what they are. Idiots.
Okay, all right. Let me get to Prithvi. Prithvi, your thoughts on the PGMOL?
Honestly, I don't really have much to say because most of it has been covered by all of you guys. But
Okay.
getting on to the fact that they're trying to appeal for a rematch. I mean, this would just cause unnecessary chaos throughout the league. And uh, let me tell you this: this is the Premier League. You're not playing a cup or a cup final or any single match per se. It's the league. So if this leads to a rematch or something like that, there would be multiple connotations in that aspect. There'll be many other matches. Many other teams appealing for the wrong decisions made in their particular match, and those matches, if they are replayed, then the league is gonna run forever. If that's the case, you're gonna have rematches for every single match that is run. And thinking about the amount of bad decisions that went our way before in the past, this is just one hiccup. I mean, I personally think that it should be taken as a loss or a win from either side, and come back the next match stronger and play better if that's the case. Like it shouldn't hinder the overall aspect of how exactly it is meant to be played. It's a game of football after all. It's not politics. So yeah, this is my view on that.
All right. Harry, your thoughts, PGMOL?
Well, there shouldn't be a replay. I'm not saying it just I'm a Spurs fan, but it's just ridiculous. Because I remember even back when we had the lasagna gate back in 2006, and Levy appealed for a rematch, and that was probably a more legitimate reason for a rematch than this. I'm sorry, but as for just the decisions in general for referees, unfortunately, all the referees, and I'm saying this blankly, they all make mistakes. All the officials, unfortunately, in the Premier League right now are rubbish. So to have a replay just because of one bad decision is you might as well just replay all 38 games for every team at this point, because the officiating's that bad. So in my opinion, it's going to be like this throughout the season. I think VAR has actually made it worse because Now it's like, well, who's making the decision? Is it VAR or is it the referee? Because even I'm confused. So I went to the game, of course, because I'm a season ticket holder, and obviously I didn't know that he was offside, and I don't know if anyone else was there, but so what happened on the screen is it freezed saying VAR check for the after Diaz thing, and it just stayed there. So I don't know what was going on. And eventually it went away. So we just assumed it was like offside because nothing happened. So I carried on playing the game. But there's loads of other contentious decisions. I can go back to last week with Romero's handball, which in real time for me is no way that's a handball. Back in the 90s and 2000s, you had a rule where it was like ball to hand, hand to ball, that sort of thing. So the handball rule is a farce right now. I don't know what's handball, what's not a handball. They might as well either give everything a handball or actually like do the back to the old school ball to hand, hand to ball. Like there's too many contentious decisions, and it's even more with VAR because obviously they even show like the Curtis Jones red card. They show us the replay on the screen of it straight after. So to me it looked like a red card. But it's just, and I'm always the opinion, right? Just in any match, as long as you do your job, it doesn't matter what the referee does. So as long as you win the game, how you win the game, you won't be sitting here the next week saying, "Oh, the ref did this, the ref did that." I'm going to reference this. Sorry, this sounds like a rant, but I'm going to reference this back to Arsenal Fan TV. So you've got a certain person called Ty who would always blame the refs if Arsenal lose. Yeah, so it's like, well, if you do your job, you won't be talking about the referee, would you? So, yeah, that's my thoughts, I guess.
All right. Before we get to Uncle Rod's, right? Let's give a shout out to Ame. Big up to Ame, right? And Elias, big up to Elias. Yeah, thanks for being here, bro. Right. Uncle Rod's, what I think, right, before I get to Uncle Rod's, is that actually, I think VAR now has actually exposed, right, the weaknesses of our referees. That is the problem, because with VAR in play, right, the referees are supposed to get the decisions right, but somehow or another they're getting it all wrong. So implementing VAR has put more pressure on the referees to get the right decisions, but they're not doing it, and it's actually exposing it. Because last time without VAR, when you make that decision, right, nobody can contest it. It's over. But now with VAR, everything now it's being shown. So Uncle Rods is a Liverpool fan. I'll just have to get his thoughts on PGMOL before we go to actual games. Uncle Rods, your thoughts on the PGMOL as a Liverpool fan?
Shit.
That's a good one.
And the whole game is shit, because the fact of the day with Curtis Jones red card in the day, right? It only showed one bit of the actual offence that they claim to sort of like they claim to have happened. You know what I mean? They didn't show all of it. That's my point. At the end of the day, you have to add content to what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? If you're only going to just show one bit, then freeze frame it at the worst possible part. At the end of the day, right? Yes, obviously, in there people can say the red card because they haven't seen the rest of it. They haven't seen the fact in the day his foot is actually gone on the ball and it's rolled onto the ball, rolled into him. So it's not intentional and it's not malicious. And in order to get a red card in everything, it should be malicious and with intent to injure the player. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hold on, I haven't finished yet. And that didn't happen. And they gave him a yellow card, and then I can live with that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But don't go back to the fucking thing and say, well, all right, you know what? We're going to look at it again and show the worst possible image that you can actually show. You can actually show anything that. Obviously, at Nate, he's going to overturn that and give him a red card because he ain't seen the rest of it. You understand what I'm saying? Number two, and then Jota shouldn't have got sent off because he didn't even touch him, Doggy, at first. He didn't even touch him. And Doggy fell off his own feet and he got a yellow card. I admit, at the end of the day, the next one and the next tackle, you could say, yeah, you know what, that's a yellow card. You know what I mean? So he should have got one yellow card. We was down to 9 men. Down to 9 men, right? Another thing, with this 3IS system, yeah, people are saying that they sort of like, forget about it, just go on and replay and thing. Now, fuck that. We've had decisions against us this season at the day, right, which should not have gone against us. We've had a decision at Aston Villa, end of last season. Tyrone Mings fly kicked Gappo in the chest. He pulled up his top and said, look, show him the stars. Nothing happened. Didn't get talking to. Then at the day there was an off goal, the offside goal that they ruled offside in the same game. Yeah, and they come up with the most shitty excuse at the end of the day they can never come out with why they gave the offside. When they give the offside, it's a catalogue of actually sort of like decisions that's been given against us. Do you know what I mean? If you want to talk about brown envelopes, that game there was an original brown envelope game because whatever Spurs did at the end of the day, right? Yeah, it was all right because there was not going to lose. They was
But
not.
okay, Uncle Ross, I know,
Last season at Anfield when he could have killed Skip.
Uncle Ross, I know you're angry, right? But the truth, right?
I'm not angry. Hold on, I'm not angry.
But in the end of the day, right? Is it? No, but I'm going to ask you a question. In the end of the day, right? Is the problem a Spurs problem?
We get decisions against us every fucking year.
We've had decisions like this for
Have you
years.
ever been a Spurs
It
fan?
is a Spurs problem at the day. It's in Spurs problem at the day. When in doggies
It's the PGMOL problem.
and
Bro,
not getting
do you
contact.
know how many decisions against Tottenham have I
When
seen
he's
in my
coming
fucking
over
life?
the three, he done
You're
it
not
twice.
blaming Spurs for that,
Well,
are you?
he's a come on now, man. Seriously?
It's the bloody referees. It's not Spurs.
You genuinely think Daniel Levy went in and paid the ref? The great guy won't even pay $5 million for a fucking
I don't
player.
go. You know what? I don't care who at the day was supposed to pay the ref and pay the ref. But
No,
that
we're not
game,
even talking about what
was not a right game. When you looked at the game, you saw
but the
Yeah,
thing,
but I
all right.
can argue a
Everybody-
million other games that
every-
weren't right
Hold on,
either.
I'm answering the question. When you saw certain things that day that was going on in that game in that day, right? It was not right. And the VAR decision at the end of the day, the VAR decision that day was one of the worst things out because at the end of the day, is this. Like Luis Diaz at the day, that goal gets allowed at the day. That's 1-1, yeah? Then Gappo scores at the end of the day. Gappo scores at the end of the day.
Rod, if Luis
You
Diaz
don't know
go
if it was 1-1.
hold on, guys, hold on. If Luis, hold on. If Luis Diaz goal went in, right, you guys would be 1-0 up, and you can't say
yeah?
no.
No,
it's 1-0.
Yeah.
You'll be 1-0 up. You'll be 10 men down.
though.
Yeah, you'll be 10 men down, 1-0 up. But that still doesn't guarantee you're going to win the game or draw the game.
It was still
Spurs scored
Still
30
Rod,
seconds after a goal
you can't
last week.
predict the
So
future.
Yeah, but
You can't predict the future out there.
It still would have been 2-1. And however,
you don't know. You don't know. You can't say, "Oh, this went in, this went in."
You
You
can't
don't
say it's
know.
going to be 2-1.
You don't
come on.
know.
He scored,
You
didn't
don't
he?
know. It doesn't mean Gakpo would have scored.
Did he not
Because
score?
Diaz scored. Have you not heard, have you watched Butterfly Effect?
Did Gappo or did Gappo not score?
Sorry,
Rod,
it's like-
no, to tell the truth, right? You can't predict what happens after one.
Watch the
incident.
Butterfly Effect.
After,
and
yeah,
see.
that's the butterfly effect. You can't. To tell the truth,
Yeah,
maybe
listen, I know at the day, number one, I know at the day, right? Yeah. Gappo scored towards the end of the half.
It doesn't
yeah?
mean if
Hold on,
Diaz
hold
scored,
on,
it doesn't mean that
hold
he
on.
would have scored.
Yeah,
It
but he
doesn't work
did
that
score.
way.
He scored though.
It doesn't mean it would have worked that way. It doesn't work that way.
Of course, it does work that way because the
it
goal
doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. You can't tell the future.
You can't tell the future after that one incident, Uncle Rods. You understand or not?
Use a butterfly effect. It's a butterfly effect.
If you understand, right?
Please watch that
Come on, man.
movie.
If you're talking about, let's say in another multiverse, if that, okay,
That's two
okay,
goals.
hold on, Uncle Rods. Let's say if it's a different multiverse, right?
Yeah, exactly. The multiverse.
That's up one multiverse.
Right? Wait. Okay. Let's say it's in a different dimension, different multiverse, right? Diaz goal is allowed. Doesn't guarantee, right? Gakpo scores the goal.
It doesn't. It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
It doesn't guarantee. But to tell the truth, that game could have ended 1-0. Liverpool would still have won it. There's so many results to come out if that decision was made.
The thing is about living that you're talking about probabilities at the day, right?
No, of course it's probabilities.
It doesn't mean
No,
because Diaz scored, it doesn't mean that Gakpo is going to score. That's what I'm trying to say.
What I'm trying to say to you is this, yeah? Right? Luis Diaz at the day put the ball in the back of the net, yeah? One.
Yes.
Gakpo put the ball
Doesn't mean Gakpo's going to score straight after.
But you
doesn't mean it's
There's
not.
no correlation.
I ain't talking about.
Okay,
Last week, Spurs scored 30 seconds after Arsenal scored. So there's no guarantee that you're going to score a second goal and that's going to be it.
No, hold on. what I'm trying to say today is this. Today, yeah, right. Luis Diaz at the day put the ball in the back in there, right?
Yeah, even if he did,
hold
doesn't mean
on,
Gakpo's going to
hold on.
score.
It doesn't mean at the day that so like Gakpo would not have scored.
No, it means it doesn't mean he would have.
At that present time at the day, right? We was dominating the game with 10 men.
It doesn't mean because you scored a goal, you would won the game.
The probability at the day of like Gakpo scoring that goal before the end of the half and is great because at the end of the day he did. But the fact is, and I'm not saying
but Diaz didn't.
I'm not saying that. Hold on, I'm not saying that they would have gone on and won the game. If we went on at the end of the day and we drew the game at the end of the day, right? We drew the game, or even if we lost the game, yeah, I wouldn't mind.
You just told me because Diaz scored, Gakpo's going to score. It doesn't make any sense.
I know the game. I know what the game at the day sort of like was played fair. But when you look at the game at the day, right, nobody can tell me at the day.
But Roz, you could argue Liverpool would get red cards anyway. You were really aggressive.
What to do?
You were really aggressive. So you could have got more red cards.
You're gonna ask me a question.
I could say that.
Ask me a question, and you ain't gonna let me answer anything that right. I'm just gonna bounce. Simple. I'm just gonna bounce. It's either you just quiet. Let me answer my question at the day, right? And then you have me talk after. If you're gonna keep on butting into me, yeah. I'm just going to
answer your question. Yeah. Answer your question.
I'm bouncing. Right.
Answer your question.
At the end of the day, right? If the game at the day was played fairly at the end of the day, right? And you guys won at the end of the day, right? You have no argument for me. I will say to you, you know what? At the end of the day, right? Fair play. You played a good game and you won it. Cool. You understand what I'm saying? But that no way on God's earth and everything that. So anybody can tell me the best team won, that you won that game.
Wait. I didn't say we are the best team. We never said we are the best team.
Best team of Bomber Club. As for VAR, right?
Rascal.
We are the thing at the day, right? Yeah. It's got no use. It's got no use in that, right? And if at the end of the day, if it takes for them at the day to replay a game in order at the end of the day, sort of like in order for like the game to have reform, to get reform into it, I say so be it. Because what's going to happen at the end of the day is this: you're going to have a couple of the game's going to go on. You're going to have a couple of decisions that day that might go Liverpool's way. Then everybody's going to forget about what's happened. Didn't think that, right? And then it's going to start up again. And then they'll do the same thing again and again and again until we get reform. So it needs to have something catastrophic to happen in order for it to be changed. Because at the end of the day, the situation what is now, it cannot go on like that. It cannot go. And the fact that it will level itself out.
Okay,
when you finish, I'm going to say something. But anyway,
it never does level itself out. It always at the day ends up at the day at this team at the day falling short of at the day achieving at the day what they want to achieve, because these people at the day couldn't get it right. And right now, the referees at the day at the moment is a dictatorship. They say what they want to say and you've got to abide by it. You can't have that anymore. Do you know what I mean? The game has been rotten, and I said it before. The game has been rotten since 1992. Since that day, Barclays at the day decided to put all this money into sort of like this league.
Are you blaming Barclays now?
You know what I mean? Money to league and everything. There's been non-stop at the day, yeah, corruption at the day in football, not just with us, but with other teams. There's been non-stop corruption and everything that. Do you know what I mean? To what it was before that. Do you understand what I'm getting at? And you just can't go anymore. So if it takes this at the end of the day, right? If it takes this at the end of the day to sort of like, you know, say, well, look, we're going to get reform in the game, yeah? And we're going to start sacking people at the day and doing something in the day, right? Well, then, you know what I mean? It takes that. It literally takes that. That's what's going to have to happen at the day. But no way, nobody could tell me at the day that game on Saturday at the day was played right, and nobody could tell me at the day, right, that Spurs were the better team, because we had 9 men and you still couldn't break us down.
That's why that's why
for you to win. You realize that it took an own goal.
Yeah, that's why we need to.
But I'll take it. So.
Yeah, but
we'll still come back to the results of the game and all that later, right? But big up to JP. Let me just give a few shout outs to the guys in the chats, right? big up the JP, big up the JP, you, whoever that you are, right? And of course, yep. Jordan wants to join too. I'll send Jordan the link, right? Okay, Prithvi, you want to say something before I come to you, Has?
I think what exactly he was trying to say, like all these irregular decision making, it will affect the morale of the team, all in all. And each time a bad decision comes a team's way, the morale of the team will obviously be crashed. I mean, it's up to the team to build it back up, and build momentum through the game. But yeah, that will also be a huge factor in deciding who would be coming triumphant at the end of it. So I think that's what he was trying to come at.
Okay, all right. I've sent you the link. And Harry, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, every team is a byproduct of bad decisions, right? Like I said before, every team, you could argue every team is a victim. Oh, he's gone now. Every team is a victim of bad decisions, yeah? Especially even more now because of VAR, because decisions get turned either way now. So it's like we could go on and on. I could list so many decisions against Tottenham. There's so many decisions. I could list so many decisions against like Arsenal. Unfortunately, lots of my friends are Arsenal fans, my close friends. So they would tell me every week, "Oh, well, this should have been a red. Oh, this should have been." We could end up replaying a million different games, right? It's impossible. So the problem is the officiators themselves. So you either have to start. It's not the right word, scouting, but start bringing through better referees just throughout the league or in Europe. And just do it that way. As for the game itself, I think Liverpool were playing aggressive regardless. So for me, I think a red card was just inevitable. Just the way we're playing, because I don't know if you noticed, but Spurs were playing passing, and trying to draw them out, and eventually they just lost their discipline. And like I said, we wouldn't be talking about refereeing decisions. Or Liverpool fans wouldn't be talking about refereeing decisions. They just went out and did their job and did get 2 red cards and end up playing with 9 men, because at the end of the day, it's their own fault. So if you don't play so aggressive, maybe you don't get the red cards. If you play less aggressive, maybe you don't get the red cards. But I have to give credit to Liverpool, even with 10 and 9 men. Klopp changed it a couple times, and they did play well. But at the end of the day, when you're playing with 8, 9 men, 10 men for a long period of time, you're going to get tired, and that's what happened. And Matip scored the own goal, and it's game over.
And the thing is, I just want to jump in. The thing is, with that tackle on over the ball, I think that was regarded as reckless endangerment.
Well, his studs were up, so
halfway up the shin.
That could have broken his leg,
Absolutely, right. It was a leg breaker.
And Basuma was down for like 5 minutes or something?
Yeah, I mean, you were there, so was I. But and we saw it, so we didn't watch it on TV. We watched it in the flesh.
Yeah. I thought Basuma was going to be taken off after that, honestly. But
I'm amazed he carried on, to be honest.
Yeah. As for the second one, I don't know. For me, I think Liverpool just asking for it because of the way they were playing.
They came in. They started from the whistle very aggressively. Now, I haven't got a problem with that, but when it comes to reckless endangerment or more intent, then you've got red card problems, haven't you?
Yeah. But I think now this
we didn't do it.
But I think nowadays, that red card was more on dangerous play than the intent of malicious or whatever, right? Once the referee deems dangerous play,
it was reckless endangerment.
Yeah. So
if he didn't mean it, he was reckless. So he endangered the opposing player.
Yeah. So, but to tell the truth, guys, right? My view on the game, right? When we were playing them 11-11, we didn't seem to be that bad. You get what I'm saying?
I thought we were good. But...
Yeah, we were good. So I would rather we played them 11-11, right? And,
I thought we were worse when they got down to 10.
Yeah, that's the thing. When they got down to 10 men, right? I was more afraid when they went down to 10 men, because we've seen Liverpool actually playing with 10 men and come back and win the games. So I was actually afraid. I was saying that be careful, right? And when Diaz scored that goal, right? I said, shit, that's where our weakness is, right? Our defense, we're gonna get broken. And it was broken, But somehow or another, of course, we go back to that whole incident about the whatever has happened. And the whole Liverpool fan base is so upset until, right, it feels it's such a big injustice on them and all that, right? But of course, I've got Jordan down here.
But what I'm trying to say, Eugene, is that every football fan will say, "Oh, the referees are against us." I know because I'm friends with other football fans.
Yeah.
And like Arsenal fans say, "Oh, the refs are always against us," or I'm not the SCU Manny, but like, loads of people I want to know that the refs are against us. Man United fans last night were like, "Oh, the refs against us." Oh, Liverpool fans, oh, the refs against us.
I already told you, right?
Every bloody football fan says this.
I already told you my conspiracy theory. You know about it, right?
Yeah.
It's all a narrative. We're all being controlled, right? We're just all the suckers sitting down there watching the narrative, right?
But this way, Eugene, like, when I'm watching the game, right, I'm one of the first people. Like, if I'm at the game, I'll scream at the ref as much as I want. But when it comes to after the match, if we lose the game, I'm not going to come out and say I'll blame the referee because we lost the game. Because at the end of the day, if you did, because I'll tell you an example. So I go to games with my dad sometimes, and we play Sheffield United. Obviously, Sheffield United are time wasting so much shit ton. And my dad was like, they should send the keeper off. They should book this person. But I go to him, at the end of the day, if we don't win the game, we can't just blame the ref because we didn't break them down. Obviously, we did in the end. Like, we got the goal at the end. But
yeah, we couldn't break.
Even if we drew the game,
right? I was so frustrated watching that game, right? We couldn't break down an 8-man, 2-line of 4 defense.
It was 5 and 3,
right?
I think. But yeah.
5 and 3, 2 and 4.
Yeah.
And when they had when they were down to 10 men, right? I was more afraid that they're going to score first. And they did. That's what I keep saying. We didn't play well, right? We were lucky to get the win, honestly, to tell the truth, right? We were very lucky to get the win, but I can't say that it's because of the referee.
Yeah, the ref gave us
the win, but we still had to put the ball behind the net, right? Yeah. Imagine if we didn't win that game, right? It would be such a big
travesty, yeah.
No, not travesty. It would be such a big thing that, Liverpool held on so well. So in the end of the day, when we won that game with that last second own goal and blah, 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 right? So it is what it is. It is what happened, right? But before I go on, let me get on Jordan. Jordan, how are you doing, Jordan? How's Jamaica? Hope you're well.
I'm good. I'm good. Trying to get this out of my mind over the weekend. It was not a great weekend for me, especially. So it's just a shameless weekend. Absolutely.
I know.
What happened to us on Sunday again. The guys was a disappointing weekend for me. We should have 3 points. But
you could have had 3 points, right? Yeah. But
it doesn't mean it's going to definitely happen.
Yeah, but Jordan, I mean, I understand, right? You being a Liverpool fan, right? I mean, Uncle Ross was on, and he's hopped off, he's bounced off now. Not happy about whatever he's not happy with. I'm sorry, right, Uncle Ross, if you're not happy, right? But what are your thoughts? I understand, yes, but the Spurs is it the Spurs club to be blamed? Are the Spurs fans to be blamed? Right? Why is that still why Liverpool fans are still so unable to let it go, right? And let the process take its own due course, whether it goes in the replay, whether it because what I believe in the end of the day, right? All this results, negative or positive, right? It all irons out itself at the end of the day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, right. Because if you realize that Luis Diaz wasn't offside, because I saw that he was onside. That pass, it was from Salah to him, and he scored, and he give it to that he's offside. He wasn't offside, he was onside.
Yeah.
Of him because he scored, and he should have stayed onside because that call of disallowed offside wasn't there wasn't a marked line that he was onside, but the VAR never checked and just said he is offside, but he's not offside.
Okay.
So
have you anybody actually listened? Okay, hold on, right? Nobody is arguing Diaz's goal was offside. All of us know that Diaz's goal is onside. But has anyone here actually sat down and listened to the conversation? Have you listened to it, Jordan? The conversation when they were having it, the conversation of the audio that Liverpool requested. It's really all over the internet. The
Yes.
VAR
Yes.
said it's all good.
Mhm.
There
It's
was a
all over.
miscommunication.
Mhm.
They didn't say it was offside. There was a miscommunication between the
There was
referee
100%.
and the lines people, the VAR people. You get what I'm saying? Now? The referee was thinking something else, and the VAR people were, I don't know what their mind was on. They was thinking and saying something else, and there was a miscommunication there. By the time they found out it was the wrong decision made, right? They couldn't pull back
Yes.
because of some stupid rule, right? So it wasn't anything like a deliberate kind of,
Anti-Liverpool officials
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
So it was just basically
Which is absolute
pure
rubbish.
human,
Sorry, but anyway.
Of course it is.
yeah, pure human, what call
Human
error in
error.
it.
Human
So,
error.
yeah, there was pure human error in it,
It was a
Okay,
balls
okay.
up.
bro. To tell
Jordan,
you the
I
truth,
was there, right? So when they put VAR on for the Diaz thing, it was stuck there for like 3-4 minutes. I don't remember.
Yeah,
But
it
clearly
was.
there was an issue because my friend, I brought two of my mates with me, and I was like, why is this still up there? Normally they bring it up there and they take it off the VAR on the screen, Jordan. But for some reason it was stuck there, so we were like, oh, maybe there was like a technical error, like something like that. Also, there was an
technical
error
glitch
in
or
the end
something.
because we heard it, and there was miscommunication or something. So maybe that's why it was stuck there for longer. I don't know, but something happened. They ballsed it up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
But
balls
okay,
up.
guys. Okay, let me just come. Okay, I think
Guys,
Arthur
yeah.
and Harry.
Bizuma. Yeah, Bizuma did chip himself. And then Diego got the 2 yellow cards
No,
and red
that was
card.
Udogi.
Bizuma Shatter didn't touch him or push
Udogi.
him. He
That was
Udogi.
Udogi.
That was a
Udogi.
Dogi.
he chipped himself.
Udogi.
I
It
think he
wasn't
caught it
Basuma.
first, but anyway.
Okay, but Jordan, okay, to tell the truth, right? Even whatever scenario happens, right? You already know you have a yellow card, right? Why did you go and make that tackle, the other tackle on Udogi, the second tackle that got him the second yellow card? And that was what less than 2 minutes after the first yellow card, he got the second yellow card, right? Yeah. But the thing is that when you guys went down to 9 men, right? We couldn't break you down. We took Son off, we took Madison off, and we couldn't break you down.
Yes,
right?
because Matip cleared the ball. Yeah, because
and Matip made what? Yeah. But okay, big up to Chunya. Hope you're well.
Yeah,
right?
But okay, Matip scored.
Yeah, Matip scored the own goal. It was more or less the same kind of own goal that Romero scored, right? For Arsenal. That's how I saw it, right? It was more or less the same kind of own goal. But
he thought it was your guy's goal. That's why he put the ball into the net. So and then he realized now that it was our own goal he scored in. He thought it was Spurs because
we all thought it was Spurs guy.
Doesn't do that.
Yeah, we thought Velis was the one who scored the goal, but actually it was Matic who scored the own goal, right? But okay, guys, let me just go through Arthur and Harry, right? Let me get to Arthur. Arthur, you were at the game, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the game, right? Not to talk about the referee decisions and all that. We've gone through that, right? So, your thoughts on the game itself?
I think, I thought that both sides really went at each other. What you call a very imposing game from both sides, really. And I thought we were in for a tasty old game here, which we were, but I didn't expect to see all the decisions that were going on. Nothing to do with Spurs, of course, but to do with officialdom. The game itself, I thought, I think Liverpool kicked off very aggressively. Well, fair comment, that's all right, provided you don't cause injuries. Overall, I think it was a masterful display by Spurs, being a Spurs fan. But I thought Liverpool gave them one hell of a fight. And even when they were down to 8 men, 2 banks of 4, I'm not including the goalkeeper here, we just could not get past them, couldn't break them down. And it was only by that thumping shot from Porro hitting the Liverpool player who put it into his own net. So But at the end of the day, let's not forget that there were shots that were saved. They had some brilliant world-class saves going on at both ends of the pitch, and some stoppages close to the line. The game had everything you would want from a game, and you could even include the bad decisions. But to me, it was worth the money. A great game, and of course Spurs kept their unbeaten run up to 5 games now.
7 games.
Sorry, 7 games, and I'm not not including the draws.
Okay, we've won 5 games.
We've won
Harry,
5
you there? I guess. What do you think about the actual performance of Spurs against Liverpool?
Well, I thought we started off quite well. Like
I prefer we played 11-11 at the time.
We kept the ball really well. What I've noticed a lot about Postecoglou's system is in these big games, maybe we'll focus more on possession just to keep the ball. As long as we have the ball, they can't score, I guess. So maybe that's his focus. I thought Porro again was probably one of our best players, and Dogie and Van der Ven was absolutely. I love Van der Ven. He's so good.
Colossus.
Incredible. Yeah. And again, I hate to say this, but I'm still got question marks over Romero the past 2 weeks. Arsenal, I think after the own goal, he kind of lost his head a bit, and that kind of showed. This week again, I don't know. I'm a bit unsure on him. And Bissouma again was all right, and Sarr, obviously Maddison. I think it was the one game where he kind of was limited in what he could do because we weren't exactly dominating possession all the time. It was quite even. I thought Son, I hate to say, is apart from the goal, he didn't really do anything. And it's not surprising that he's getting taken off every game because I don't think he has the legs anymore, and people kind of need to understand that. And I don't think he can play on the left anymore. A big shout out to Richarlison. I thought on the left-hand side, I thought he played really well against Liverpool, actually. Obviously, he got the assist, but not just that. I thought he just, considering he should be playing in the middle, and that is his best position. On the left, I thought he did a really good job. Vicario, again, I don't think he was tested as much. He made those 2 brilliant saves, but I don't think he's really been that tested yet.
No, against 11 men, he was tested, right? After being down to 10, then 9, then he was completely untested.
He did that double save, but apart from that, I don't think he really had that much to do. But I think with the Liverpool goal, unfortunately, Spurs teams did have this tendency, which I really don't like. We just switch off, and we just didn't engage. We don't engage players quick enough. One criticism I have of this Ange ball, though, is I think sometimes we overplay it. If we could just shoot earlier, that would be helpful. Because I feel like sometimes we just... my dad says this thing, I don't have to translate this into English from Greek, but like make the ball dizzy. That's how it said in Greek, at least. We just pass, and then at some point you're just gonna have to shoot. And I find like we just overplay sometimes. I just wish we were just a bit more like take a bit more chances, a bit more shots. I know we take a lot of shots anyway, but just have a pop earlier. And I think the reason we struggle so much with against 9 and 10, especially 9. Was because Spurs kind of have this, I'm not saying predictable football, maybe that's the right word, but we seem to play intricate stuff. So when we finally changed and decided, let's just put crosses in the box with a Porro thing, we finally got something out of it because obviously we're just passing, and Liverpool players just have to stand in like a line and we can't go past the line. So we had to go wide. And I thought the idea of maybe putting Richarlison with Velez in the middle was that went 4-4-2, was that we're just going to play crosses in the box and just hope Richarlison gets a header or someone gets a knock, which obviously in the end, that's what happened. But I feel like in the end, he kind of threw away his normal game plan or style of play, which was a good thing because we end up getting the goal. But I just kind of hope he does that a bit more because in some games, we're not going to be able to break out down teams. So sometimes it's best to go classic 4-4-2 and just have a go.
Okay, fair. Yeah. Let me come to Keshav first because Keshav's going to leave soon, right? Keshav, you said you didn't watch the game. So any thoughts on the Spurs on the game, right? Not on the refereeing and all the decisions and all that, just on the game itself. And of course, I'm sure you're very happy that you guys won against
Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Before you answer, is that a Dagenham Motors top you're wearing right now?
No, this is the latest season home kit.
Okay, but for some reason it looked like Dagenham Motors to me.
Oh no, not that.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Kesha.
Uh, Nothing much more to say on the Spurs game. I think everybody has sort of summarized and given their views. But coming to West Ham, just a quick overview. Good for West Ham to get back to winning ways. I watched the game, um, and I thought we played really well. I mean, look, Sheffield United are a very poor side. They're not in the best form, and they don't have quality players as what West Ham do have. But I was quite impressed with a lot of the players. I thought Bowen played fantastic. I thought Suchek was in fine form. Paketa was excellent, and yeah, I thought we really had full control of the game. I know Newcastle last week thumped them 8-0, and I think a lot of pundits would have said, "Oh, West Ham would be easy to stroll and sort of thump Sheffield United." But let's be honest, there's gonna be, everybody would want. Of course, I would want to see West Ham play stylish football, win 8-0. But let's be honest, it's not gonna happen. If under a Moy side, it's not gonna happen. We win 8-0. So I mean, let's be honest, 2-0 is a worthwhile win. It's a good win and good positive momentum. We've got a Europa League game Friday morning against Freiburg, which is not going to be easy. We've sort of had quite a difficulty when it comes to playing German sides, actually, because I remember we played Frankfurt last two seasons ago. We lost in both. I mean, we lost in both legs, and then we played Bayer Leverkusen in preseason and got thumped. So we've not had a sort of good record against German sides. I hope we can break the curse in terms of beating this type of sides. But I hope we do. Yeah, we got Newcastle this week, which is going to be interesting. Newcastle are doing very well. So I mean, last season West Ham played at home against Newcastle. We got thumped 5-1. I think if you ask me, that was one of the worst games. Honestly, I watched the game and that was really bad. But I really hope we can get revenge. It'll be a good game for sure. And yeah, I mean, moving on from that, I think, I don't know whether you heard the news regarding Bowen's contract, because it seems there's issues regarding, extending his deal. And I mean, we want to extend his contract, but I think the agents are looking to put in a 15. I mean, he's open to signing a new deal, but the problem is, the agent want to insert 50 million release clause, maybe because when you see Rice go to Arsenal, for example, and I think Bowen wants to go to more progressive club, which I can understand, maybe because of the style of football we are playing. He'll be better suited to more attacking side of football and free flowing. But I think he deserves the contract. I think we want to make him the highest paid earner, but right now leaking all this, I sort of don't like it. I mean, we let Rice go for a really good fee, and Bowen has 2 years left on his contract. I mean, let's be honest, if the worst case scenario is that, there's rumors saying that we sell him in January and offers coming. If I mean, to be honest, Bowen is worth probably, if you ask me really how much he's worth, probably 70 to 80. I think that's a fair price on Bowen, to be honest. But Liverpool are linked to him. I mean, if he wants to go there, then I would be fine. But Liverpool will probably have to pay the price, really, 80 million. And I feel West Ham have difficulty in holding on to players because it's not a great scenario, because we've had this a lot with our players. But I hope we can come to a conclusion. If worst case scenario we sell him at money, that doesn't look good. But I think if you ask me personally, I think we have to run down his contract. I think that's the best case scenario if you ask me, because there's nothing much more to do. If there's a difficulty negotiating with his agents and trying to find the solution is a hassle, then that's the case if you ask me. But other than that, I think I'm pleased with West Ham season so far. Very impressed with the signings we've made. I think Ward-Prowse has been excellent. Edson Alvarez from Ajax. I think if you ask me, we've got some tough games, which is Newcastle, Aston Villa. So I think these two teams is going to decide where we do well this season. But I hope we can, give it a good go. I think if you ask me from those two games, 3 points or 4 points, I think I'll be quite pleased. As long as we are top 7, top 6, aiming in that position, I'll be quite happy. But look, I think if you ask any West Ham fan, I think probably they'll be pleased with the start, bearing in mind of the Man City or Liverpool loss. I think overall I'm quite pleased. I can't, I wouldn't, I'm not expecting so much. I'm expecting at least good football. I know some West Ham fans will say they don't like the football. I can completely understand. They don't like more football, sit back, hope and pray for something to happen.
Isn't that you?
There are
You're the one, right?
that football happens, and I don't like it. I don't like it, and it's sort of I watched the game, and second half is quite boring. But as a supporter, you have to support your team. There's no choice. And whatever example, Antonio Conte, he won't play that attacking style of football. He probably play defensive mode. And I mean, look at Sam Allardyce, for example. He also plays like that. So to be honest, some Western fans would prefer winning games, getting results over football. There's some Western fans would prefer playing attacking football over results. So there's differing views. So just have to get along with it, really. So yeah, I think that's my close statement. So yeah,
All right. Okay, that's good, Kishaf. Hope you're well. We
yeah,
hope to see you maybe in a few days' time, right?
sure.
You gonna make a move now?
Yeah, have to.
All right, take care.
Pick up
All
yourself.
right,
Take care.
have a good night.
Yeah,
Take
take
care.
care, everyone. Yeah,
Okay,
take
take
care.
care.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye, Chef.
Bye.
Okay, chef.
And then of course Nipun just hopped in. But before I come to Nipun and Mani, right? Let me get Prithvi's view on the Spurs game. What do you think about it, right? The actual football.
Honestly, I actually felt the match was like better than I expected. I thought it was gonna be a draw, just like I predicted the last week in your show.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it was pretty well fought, to be honest. Like there was a lot of to and fro, good thing. Apart from the bad decisions, apart from the aggressive side of the game, the amount of attacks that were happening from both sides were very intense. It actually, uh, I mean, it could have been much more. We could have gotten more goals for that matter if it weren't for Allison and Vicario that way. Allison kept a lot of our shots out. That was something that I could highlight in the entire game. The combination between Romero and Van der Ven actually worked out. I mean, even if Romero didn't really have much of his head in the game, Van der Ven covered up for most of those situations. So that was pretty cool. I really like the fact that uh, Liverpool, they managed to keep our midfield sort of silent. Even post the attacks that we had from our side, they were also able to put it up. And right after the red card that they got for Curtis Jones, the comeback, the first goal by Gakpo uh, was pretty. I mean, I know he got injured while scoring it, but yeah, it was a very impressive shot actually. Like to actually turn at that angle, which he turned and scored from behind. That was pretty cool. Like not many people can actually carry that out, and he actually spotted the exact gap between all our players, like the two players who were the defenders and the goalkeeper. He was able to get it through that. That was pretty interesting. Um, as the game went, yeah, I think when it was 11v11, we were able to show some fight, but towards as their players reduced, I think defensively they were a bit more impressive. We weren't able to get through it, just like you said. I think we could have done a lot more, but they were also maintaining their line,
Support.
so we had to go to the wing a lot. Uh, so I think we were lucky to get the last goal by Matip. If it wasn't for Poro's cross, I don't really think we would have gotten anywhere close to that. So yeah, cheers to that.
All right. Okay. I'll come to Mani. Mani, the results? Whether you watched the game?
Yeah, I think His Majesty King Arthur pretty much summed it up. Really, both teams did contribute to a pretty good game, and I was actually a lot more impressed, as I mentioned, with Liverpool's play, because obviously when they went down to 10 and 9 men, they did a really good job in keeping themselves in. Even at 10 men down, they looked as though they could win. Even with 9 men down, they looked as though they couldn't lose. But Spurs also did play their part, and it looks as though Ange Ball is starting to weave its magic. And I'm not going to be bitter about the North London derby, because I will say that although Arsenal started well in that game, Spurs managed to find a brilliant way to get back into the game. And they were actually good value for the point they earned. They could very easily have, taken all three if things hadn't gone our way. And it's just a shame, really. I think going back to the decisions that it effectively ended what was a titanic clash between two teams that could very well have a big say in deciding the destiny of the Premier League title this season. I know it might be a big thing to say for both Spurs and Liverpool just yet, and it is still early days. But it was a good game. I quite enjoyed it, and I thought although Spurs started well, Liverpool was starting to come into their own. I was impressed in some ways with Joe Gomez's performance. Probably caught out a little bit for the first goal, in fact, when he allowed, I don't remember who it was. Was it Kulusevski to sort of skin him? Who?
Yeah.
Madison. Yeah, he allowed Madison to sort of skin him and get that cross in, of course. And once Son got that goal, it was effectively,
that was Richarlison who skinned him, I think, if I'm not mistaken, to get the cross in for.
Yeah, Richarlison. Yes, Richarlison. You're right. It was Richarlison. You're right. And Richarlison also did contribute a bit. I was a bit surprised to hear Harry say that Son's legs have gone, because there's a part of me that thinks that without Harry Kane in the team, Son has started to express himself a lot more and is starting to play some really good football, especially expressing himself the way he should have been able to express himself. And maybe he might not have the speed to play as the link player that he should was when Kane was in the team, but now he should be treated as more of the main striking threat who just has to get into positions and just be there to score. And as long as you can do that, then Spurs should be fine. But defensively, of course, as long as you got Christian Romero, I don't care if he's a world champion, he's an absolute liability as well, and completely, as they would say in Spanish, es muy loco en la cabeza, or something like that. And it was a question really of which team wanted it more, and both teams seemed to want it equally, in my opinion. I do take the point that Liverpool actually showed a lot more determination and fight, and it was really discomforting if you're a Tottenham fan how Salah was still able to get into good positions with 10 men. Obviously, with 9 men, there was no way they could, just try and look for an opening with a more packed defense. But it was a good game. I enjoyed watching it. And as I said, the only way to stamp out these ridiculous pieces of incompetence is to have stricter punishment for the officials in question. I just don't know if that'll happen. But well done to both teams for a fine game. And I say well done to Tottenham. Your start continues. I only hope that you can maintain it, because we've seen in seasons past how you've started well but fizzled out. But we're not ones to talk. We're starting well but fizzling out dreadfully, as we're going to talk about a little bit later on. And Liverpool need to just, keep their heads up and try and move forward and hope that this adversity will strengthen them.
Yep. And Nipun, how are you doing, Nipun? Haven't seen you in a long time.
I wanted to ask, I don't know if the guy next to me is a Liverpool fan, or I don't know who he supports.
No, we're all Spurs fans here, apart from Manny.
Oh, apart from myself and Manny, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, because I was going to ask, Jordan was the only Liverpool fan here.
Yep. Jordan was the only Liverpool fan. He left. Uncle Rods was on earlier, but he left too. So
yeah. But I was going to ask them what they thought on the match being replayed and all that.
No. We've gone through that, right? So to tell the truth, right, since you've joined us quite late, right, we actually went through the PGO MOL question, and now we're actually talking about the Spurs, the how the Spurs play. I mean, any thoughts? Did you watch the game?
Look, as much as a lot of our fans hate to credit Tottenham in any way, shape, or form, I've never considered you guys as our rivals. I've always seen Arsenal and Man United as bigger rivals than you guys. I'm not going to lie. So I have no shame in crediting Ange Ball. And he's done wonders for you guys.
Fair, right? Since we're all done with the Spurs game, going through all that, right? Let's go to another game and results. Okay, why don't we just pick one up? Let me see. What about this one? All right.
I actually watched that game. I actually watched it. Yeah.
All right. Let me get to Mani first, since he's the Arsenal fan. Bournemouth 0, Arsenal 4. My question to you, Mani, is that why did Arteta, knowingly that Saka is not 100% and on the brink of actually breaking down, right, played him, right, while he was still limping, and played him again, right, last night against Lens, right, and now he's out. Oh, Mani.
This scoreline right here, Eugene, is the definition of a Pyrrhic victory, and that's why I can't take any satisfaction from that. Because in as much as we were able to expose Bournemouth for how disjointed their play is at the moment under this new coach who's trying to introduce something new, and how the players he picked just weren't able to fulfill it, our performance in that game at Dean Court wasn't exactly convincing, because all of our goals were from set pieces. 2 of them were penalties.
Sorry, let me stop you there. 1 second, रुक नहीं दो. Convincing 4-0. Convincing नहीं है?
अभी बताता हूँ भाई. See, the scoreline doesn't tell the whole story. सिर्फ scoreline देखकर सबको मालूम नहीं हो सकता. अभी बताता हूँ. Because all of our goals, and I do apologize for that, I'll translate it. He was asking me, of course, how can you say that a 4-0 win is not convincing? I was telling him the scoreline doesn't tell the whole story. I'm going to say everything right now. It's because 2 of our goals came from the penalty spot. Another 2, of course, the first goal we scored from Saka was rather fortunate, with Jesus heading it right off the crossbar, and then Saka being at the right place at the right time to sort of poke it in. And then, of course, another free kick, and then Ben White connects with a header, and then it's 4-0. But given how we obviously played the much better football, and we knew how to obviously to sort of stifle them in a way, not so much stifle them. They wanted to try to play the higher line with more flowing attacking football under Iraola, and obviously, they were looking good, but defensively they still have a lot of problems with the new guys, Kerkis, and I think Zabani was there last season, but the back four still has not been able to gel, and they've been chopping and changing defenders quite frequently. So it was almost as expected. I think the scoreline would have been really harsh on. I wouldn't necessarily say harsh per se, but it still was quite gutting if you're a Bournemouth fan. Shout out to our mutual friend Craig Beasley from Up the Cherries and All Departments. I'll be doing an episode of Cherry Picking with him this week, and we will be talking about this game and a few others. But again, going back to your question, the reason why Mikel Arteta played Bukayo Saka, despite him literally being on his last leg, as it were, is because without him, he doesn't have a plan B. This man had the gall to determine once and for all that Nicola Pepe had no part to play in his plans going forward, and they were willing to rip his contract up and let him leave for free, just like they did to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And as far as Saka's backup is concerned, we've got Reece Nelson, who managed to hoodwink the club, for want of a nicer word, into giving him a new contract based on that last-minute goal against the same opposition. And it was voted goal of the season, and we had a lot of people basically crowing about that, saying this is the stuff of champions. Seriously, going 2-0 down after an hour to a Bournemouth side at the wrong end of the table and having to depend on the last-minute winner, stuff of champions, get real. And in the end, it was that hubris which cost us, as we ended up, bottling the league. But going back to centre, we performed as expected, and obviously the changes. I mean, the team lineup that was there for the most part did its job. Obviously, you see Odegaard doing well against teams like Bournemouth, but then ghosting against bigger teams and in bigger games. It's not really a nice thing. And the decision to give Kai Havertz a penalty, talk about, just offering him a little treat to try and make him feel better. Even Mikhailo Mudrak, as Nipun will agree with you, was able to score his goal on his own merit. So at least there, Mikhailo is starting to prove a little bit that he's value for money. Just a shame that he got injured on Monday night. But, it wasn't really a victory that I can take much pleasure in, because I did watch it. It wasn't televised, so I had to watch it any which way. It was a bit choppy. And even then, it was not really a victory that gave me that much satisfaction because of Bukayo's injury. And then to have him start against Lens and then end up going off after barely half an hour, it just compounded everything. And Arteta was right, of course, against Lens to replace Ben White with Tomiyasu and make a few other changes. But with the exception of possibly Tomiyasu, except he was also getting skinned at times, I can't think of any Arsenal player last night who had a really, really good game in the Champions League, sort of like an 8 or 9 out of 10 performance. Even Raya, who did make some saves and did collect his crosses, has to hold his hand up for a pretty poor misplaced pass. I mean, obviously he tried that pass, and on any other day, Tomiyasu would retrieve that, but it just went to the Lens player, who ended up starting the attack that led to the goal. It was a comedy of errors. And that's one reason why, despite a win like this against a Bournemouth team, which is, of course, at the wrong end of the table and is also struggling to adopt a new identity with a new manager, we're not going to win the league. And my only hope for Bournemouth is that these upcoming games, including against a Wolverhampton team that beat Manchester City, led by Bournemouth's ex-manager Gary O'Neill, of all things, they can somehow turn the corner. They've also got to play Everton and I think Burnley or another team, if I'm not wrong. So maybe in those 3 games, they have to aim for at least 7 out of 9 points to try to start the climb, and then they can start to get a little bit of confidence. But as for us, we're showing once again that without Bukayo Saka, we have no plan B. We don't have any good cover for him apart from Reece Nelson. And if more players do get injured, we've already seen Yuri and Timber go down with a potential long-term injury. He should be back hopefully before the new year at the very least, or at worst sometime in January. So it's exposed our incompetent, shambolic transfer activity. And we are still no better than we were last season. We've actually regressed. The one good thing about last night, and to some extent this particular game against Bournemouth, is that this season will be a watershed. If Arteta fails to win anything of major repute, I don't even want another FA Cup or a League Cup. I'm sorry. He's got to go. It's as simple as that. Because this guy is going to be the demise of some of our brightest talents. Forget about Saka for a moment. Emile Smith-Rowe, who was once again called on to try to perform a rescue act and really did his best, but it was a bit too big for him. And he might be one person who could be on his way. This guy Arteta is going to be the decline of our club. He could very well be the death of our beloved Hale End. And I really just it doesn't really fill me with much confidence, especially given that we've got a Manchester City team coming up, a City team who will be very eager to take out their anger at losing on the weekend on us. And we don't exactly have the best record against them, mind you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, right? Well, what are your thoughts on the Man City game, right? Do you think you'll be able? Are you at home or away?
We are at the Emirates, and City are coming to play.
Okay, so that means you're home. So
is this time on Sunday?
Yep.
Yeah, coming on this Sunday, right? So, what are your thoughts on that game? Do you think you have a chance to beat them?
Yeah, and let me just make a final word on the Raya Ramsdale debate. To all of you who are criticizing Raya, get over yourselves. Ramsdale's made even worse mistakes. His attitude has been found wanting. Raya is not the best goalkeeper in the world. He's not the complete package. That honor is strictly reserved for the former Arsenal goalkeeper who's now with Aston Villa. But At the moment, Raya can offer a lot more than Ramsdale can at the moment. So, in the words of Mikel Arteta, if you enjoy him that much, shut your mouths and eat it.
But Manny, what are your thoughts on M City game? Do you think you can beat M City this coming Sunday? This Sunday? Yeah.
No.
All right. Okay, fair. What results do you think will be good? It will be good for you guys to have a draw?
Yes, but we still won't get a draw. I'm predicting
You're
at
gonna lose.
best a tight Manchester City win because they may have injuries, but they also have a decent squad. And they're going to be fired up with Guardiola back in the dressing room to make sure that they put us to the sword. Believe you me.
Okay, all right. Arthur, any thoughts on the Bournemouth Arsenal game?
I suppose I pretty well much agree with what Manny said. It didn't excite me, put it that way. And usually, although I'm a Spurs fan, I've been excited by some of Arsenal's play over the last few years. But I don't know. I just knew Bournemouth were going to get walloped, and they did. 4-0's a walloping,
Yeah, fair.
and Arsenal deserved it.
All right, Harry.
Yes, I did actually watch the game on the way to the Spurs game. So one of my friends had it on his phone because we went in like a group. And yeah, Arsenal did deserve to win. Just a quick one on Havertz. It was clearly like a charity goal because, quite frankly, I think Havertz is one of the worst signings I've ever seen at Arsenal in my lifetime. And I know it's been 5-6 games, but the guy is just. I don't understand Arteta signing him. To me, it doesn't make any sense. Unfortunately, he comes across. I put him under luxury player list. So a player that if you're going to make it work, because even with him, it's a massive if. You're going to have to build the team around him, and Arsenal are not doing that. And I'm not blaming this on Arsenal, by the way. I'm just saying you have to accommodate him, if that makes sense, right? You're not going to get the best out of him playing him. You either play him as a second striker, or maybe like we used to use Dele Alli, like off the wide position or something, in like a free roll. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything out of Havertz, I don't think. But even then, Havertz, I don't think he's made for this league. We saw that at Chelsea. And he's not very good. And all the games we watched him play, every Arsenal fan I speak to criticises him and wonders why Arteta signed him. Now, this is why I'm getting on to the next point. So I think Arteta's going to die on this hill with Havertz. I think he's got a massive ego as a manager, and I think he saw Havertz at Chelsea and thought, oh, look, he's failed under these managers on like Tuchel, whatever. I can make him into a player, look, and that's why I think he bought him. That's the only reason I can think of. And I do think Arsenal fans will be Arteta out by the end of the season, if not by Christmas.
like last year, right?
No, but this time it's going to be like real. Like we're going to be watching AFTV and seeing people going nuts over Arteta, because I don't think the guys. I hate to bring this up because this is going to offend a lot of Spurs fans, but I do think he's stuck in the Poch mold where he's going to be the bridesmaid but never the bride. I think Arsenal need a better manager than this if they're going to win the title.
I think that
Poch will always be better because he led you lot to a Champions League final. The best Arteta ever did was take us to a Europa League semi-final, and even then he got schooled by his predecessor. Do not ever compare him to one of yours.
It's just that I can't. Arsenal won't win the league. They won't win the league under Arteta. They won't. But it's a shame because Arsenal do have some really good players, and maybe under a better manager they would do better. But I think he'll die on the Havertz hill, and it'll be Arteta out by Christmas. Like they'll go mental. Like with Wenger, it'll be like that. I think. Yeah. Because unfortunately, because he got so close last season, right? Now, if Arsenal don't go and do a title challenge plus a cup, or they don't actually win the title, I think Arsenal fans would just go against them anyway. So.
Yeah. But the Arsenal and us are still the unbeaten team in the Premier League, right? But okay, let me come to Prithvi before I come to Nippon. Prithvi, any thoughts on Arsenal game?
Against Bournemouth, they definitely deserve to win, but There were some players who didn't really perform to their standards as per me. I think Saliba had a very silent game. Um, Maybe even Havertz. I think, Harry mentioned, Havertz is not really the best signing that Arsenal have had in years. And I mean, that should have been understood the way he was performing back at Chelsea itself. But yeah, they purchased him nonetheless. Little, I mean, considering the way he played back at Leverkusen and after coming to the league, how he's been playing, it should have been known right then that he shouldn't have been signed, but he was chosen either ways. Um, but apart from that, the match was pretty well. I mean, decent performance by Arsenal. But yeah, like Mani said, I think they are like highly dependent on Saka and the way he performs. Um, if if Saka does get injured, I think they are in a whole lot of trouble. That's something that they need to look at big time.
Well, I mean, you must have seen what happened yesterday, Prithvi. He got taken off after 33, barely half an hour,
Yeah,
and it looks as though he could miss the City game. So whatever hopes we might have had of getting anything from that game have been extinguished, unless Reece Nelson has a blinder. I don't see that
yeah.
happening. I'm sorry.
Okay, fair. Nippon, are you there, Nippon? Not sure Nippon is there or not. All right, guys. Nippon is here. All right, Nippon, your thoughts on the Arsenal game?
Oh, I didn't watch it, but they did win 4-0. So
Okay.
I'm guessing they'll be happy with that result.
But okay, Nippon, and I'm going to ask the rest of the guys, right? Manchester City, Arsenal versus Manchester City. Nippon, what do you think the scoreline will be?
It's going to be, I'm not going to say they're going to win, but it would not surprise me one bit if they win against Man City. But I'm going for a 4-0. I'm going for a 4-0 drubbing
By M City.
by Man City.
Oh dear. 4-0. Arthur?
I think it's either going to be a 3-3 draw or a 3-2 win for City.
Okay, that's tight. Prithvi?
I say somewhere around 3-1 City.
3-1 City.
Arsenal will score, but I think Arsenal will be the first to score. But City will come back and get the win.
All right. Harry?
4-1 to Man City.
4-1 to Man City. Everybody wants Man City to win. I'm going to tell you this, guys, right? I think it's going to end up as a 1-1 draw, and then we beat Luton, right? And then we'll be top of the league. Yoo-hoo!
We play Luton on the Saturday though, so we top won't we if we win.
Oh yeah, we'll be top anyway, right? So they can't get us, right? So yeah.
Well, listen, Eugene. Look, you lot are City's bogey team anyway. So even if City beat us, you can beat them, and all will be right with you, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully. Right? Okay. All right. I'm gonna get to Nippon. Nippon, you there, Nippon?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. This is the game, right? That played yesterday. Even is it Monday? Played on Monday, right? Fulham 0, Chelsea 2.
Yay! We finally got a win. Back to back.
Finally got a back-to-back win. Your thoughts on the game?
What else to say? A typical not so Chelsea performance. We actually scored 2 goals, not just 1, 2. Mikhailo Mudryk scoring just before halftime, and Armando Broja adding a second just 20 seconds after kickoff. I mean, that has to be the fastest gap between. Oh, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know you're happy. I know. Yeah. You're happy to get the win, right? So, and the best part, it was a London derby, and it was a way for you guys to get the win. And the weird thing is that I think you have not won at home yet, right?
Not this year.
this season you guys haven't won at home yet, right? Mani, the Fulham Chelsea game, any thoughts? Do you watch it?
Well, I think I did allude to that by saying, and I think Mr. Sharma will agree with me, that in contrast to Kai Havertz, who had to be given a charity pity penalty, Mudrak at least took his goal superbly. So in some ways, Mudrak is proving to be a little bit more value for money, despite the fact that he cost Chelsea more than what both Chelsea and Arsenal paid for Havertz. Such a shame about the injury. And I'm not too sure about the rationale behind having Mark Cucurella playing at right back, despite being left-footed. But a lot of people are saying he seems to be a little bit tidy. I don't know if he necessarily overlaps as much, but it seems to be somehow working a little bit. And formations aside, obviously the 4-2-3-1 still seems to be doing quite well, but the leadership gap, I mean, it's bad enough that you give the captaincy to Reece James and the vice captaincy to Ben Chilwell, but with both of them unavailable, you give the armband to Conor Gallagher. I'm not too sure that he necessarily had a decent game, and what a slap in the face it is to Thiago Silva, who, despite being well on the wrong side of his 30s, is still proving that he's more than capable of dragging the team by the scruff of its neck and really inspiring them to do better things. And as for Carlos Vinicius Jr., that was a type of infringement which in many ways would have warranted a red card for serious foul play. I'm no fan of wrestling, but if any of you are, to literally whack a person in the back like that where you got the nerves over there, that's almost a sort of a hit which could, it could render someone unable to move for quite a bit of time. And it potentially, if you damage the right nerve, it could paralyze you. So what Vinicius was thinking of doing that to his fellow Brazilian, I will never know. And Fulham just didn't look anywhere near at the races. I'm surprised that people were predicting a Fulham win. I was one of the only few people who were predicting a Chelsea win, and I was predicting a 2-1 win. I didn't expect Robert Sanchez to keep a clean sheet. But Fulham just looked a little bit out of sorts. And look, they're going to stay up and they're going to continue to try and punch above their weight. But they still have a few issues in their team as well. And they're still struggling for goals without Mitrovic. And the ex-gunner, Alex Iwobi, coming to Fulham hasn't necessarily helped that much. Although maybe once he settles in, he probably will go on to be a more than decent player. But a good night for Chelsea. And hopefully all of those people who were screaming, "Poch out," will, take a bit of a chill pill and say, you know what, give him a chance. He's earned the right to continue to try and work some magic. And if he's able to get Mudrak to start cooking and feeling a lot better, then who knows what more he can do. And when it's just a question of when Chelsea are really going to start completely firing. I don't know if Mr. Sharma will necessarily agree, but he has been one of the biggest supporters of Poch, especially on Twitter. So maybe he can, back up my comments or add something or disagree. Nippon, what say you?
Is Nippon still there? I don't know. Maybe Nippon, are you there, Nippon?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just having something to eat, so I didn't want you guys seeing.
No, it's okay. You can show us what you're eating. This is a good part of the show, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm going off camera.
Yeah, but don't worry about the eating thing. All right, let me get through the Spurs.
I've been saying this for time. If you give Poch time, he will bring you results.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola. Listen, Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp at Man City and Liverpool, respectively, both had seasons from hell in their first season, debut seasons from hell. They both went trophyless. Yes, Pep, trophyless at Man City in his first season. But both the owners, FSG backed Klopp, Sheikh Mansour backed Pep Guardiola, and look at where they've come.
Okay. Arthur, the Fulham Chelsea?
I'll keep this short and sweet. Fulham raised the white flag, and that was the end of it.
All right. Prithvi?
I don't really have much to say.
It's because they were wearing white shirts.
Oh, they were that. Yeah, Prithvi, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't really have much to say because I didn't get to watch the match actually. But yeah, uh, on Fulham's behalf, I really think they are missing Mitrovic big time.
Okay. Harry?
So I did watch most of the game. Chelsea deserve to win, just quality-wise, they're better than Fulham as well. And I agree with you, they are struggling without Mitrovic. I don't know where the goals are going to come from. But I do think Chelsea really needed to win a match just to get a bit of confidence. If you look at their fixture list, it's not looking that great in the next few games. I think got Arsenal or something after the next game, then Newcastle, Brentford. It's like a long Tottenham, United. There's like a long list.
Guys, that's my fear, If Poch is slowly getting it right, by the time he beats us, right, it just could click all together, and you know what could happen there, right? So
I still don't think Poch knows his best 11. I think that's the part of the problem.
Yeah. But what to do with all the injuries and all that he's been having, right? And all the new players.
Did you see my message in the group, by the way? It's Solomon's out for 2-3 months.
Yeah. Yep, Solomon's out. I keep telling you.
Spurs. What's he done, Harry?
I don't know. I just saw the headline.
Right.
That's what Spurs will do, right? By the time November, December comes, half of our squad will be out, and we'll see what we'll have left
to buy some players in January.
And then we will have to say this.
Yeah.
In January, right? Okay, Nippon, after who are playing next? Nippon?
Maybe he's having
Burnley away.
You're playing Burnley away. Confidence? Winning?
Still so.
You beat Fulham away. It was so difficult beating Burnley away. Burnley plays that,
I'm naturally a caution person.
Okay, right. Any score predictions? Burnley away?
It's going to be a tight game, but I think Chelsea will take it 2-3.
Okay, all right. Manny, Chelsea away to Burnley. Do you think they can beat them?
I don't think they can beat them. I know they can beat them. I think Burnley are still, despite the win over Luton, still very much a team that looks like a rabbit in the headlights in the Premier League. And sadly, because we all respect Company as a player and also admire what he did as a manager with Anderlecht and also with Burnley in the Championship, it somehow just hasn't quite clicked. And I know that it might sound hypocritical to say this after Burnley secured a win over a Luton team that also looks a little bit out of sorts. But, Burnley do have a lot of issues with regard to their team, with regard to their own formation. And I just don't know if they'll be able to withstand Chelsea's new confidence, as it were. Even with Mudryk out injured, Chelsea should have enough in their arsenal, pun not intended, I must say, to get the better of Burnley. And especially when the likes of Nkunku come back after the new year, they're going to be even more dangerous because let me tell you something, I rate Nkunku very highly indeed. By the way, Mr. Sharma, for how long is Mudryk out of commission? Nippon? Still eating from the sounds of it.
What do you mean out of commission?
When I say out of commission, I mean out of action. For how long is he going to be injured?
Wait, he's injured.
Well, he came off at half time. He came off after half time with a slight quad injury. Is it serious or will he be back fit?
I haven't checked, if I'm honest with you.
Okay, Nippon's gonna check. All right, let me get to you guys. Arthur, Burnley, Chelsea.
A narrow Chelsea win.
Okay, Prithvi.
Like Arthur said, it would probably be a 2-1 or a 1-0 win. Yeah.
Okay, Harry.
1-0 Burnley.
1-0 Burnley to Harry, right? Yeah. Guys,
come on. Give Chelsea some credit. I'm going 3-1.
Look, guys, to tell the truth, right? The way I'm seeing it,
You feel better about Poch.
No, to tell the truth,
I don't care about Poch. I'm just
to tell the truth, I don't care about Poch too. But the thing is that once Poch gets his team to click, right? hope it's just a short burst of something that happened against Fulham, right? But if Poch has really gotten the system down, the players that he wants, right? If they go out against Burnley and Burnley plays the way they do play against they play against us, right? I guess Poch will get the better of Burnley. I see 3-1, 4-1 Chelsea to win. And that's what I'm
I
afraid
have
of is that
something to say in that context. Like Poch hasn't been the best manager when it comes to big players, and Chelsea is a team with big players in them.
no,
Uh,
no,
Knowing
but
that, it's a little difficult.
Prithvi, this Chelsea team, right, has got no big players. You get
They
me saying?
do.
They only got
They've got a
big
lot
money
of them.
players. They
They've got a
got
lot
big
of big
money
players.
players. They got big money players, but not all real big players, not the big names.
Yeah, but
right?
the players like Enzo, I could name someone with a big ego, something like
Enzo
Yeah, that's
Fernandez
one.
and
But
Nkunku
there's
are
one.
that.
examples.
Caicedo.
Caicedo, but to tell the truth, Caicedo wasn't a big player. He was playing in Brighton. It's just because his price was overhyped that made him a big player. Chelsea doesn't have big players. Chelsea has got young, right, players who are on the way up, right? Apart from a few of them that left over from the previous management, those big players, right? To tell the truth, if the young and on the way up players believe in his style and all that, you can say Mudryk is a big player, but was he a big player? No, he played in Shakhtar Donetsk. He wasn't playing in Real Madrid. Chelsea doesn't have any players who are playing like in Real Madrid or Barcelona coming over. You get what I'm saying? Not? Right? Big up to Guguma. Big up. How are you doing, Guguma? Hope you're well in Korea. Right? Big up.
Guguma.
Yeah, Guguma. Big up. Right. So what I'm seeing now is that if Poch does get this team clicking, by the time he plays us, right, you will see a totally different Chelsea playing us. That's what I fear. Right. So let's how I say that, maybe Nippon is right, but let's hope that he still has his problems, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, I wasn't watching the game, but I saw the bench. Maduake is back. A lot of the players are slowly coming back to him. So, my fear is that by the time he meets us, right, he has won enough games, built enough confidence, right, to actually play.
But still, when we play you guys, we will still have our biggest attacking threat out, which is Christopher Nkunku.
Yeah. Nkunku is going to come back somewhere in January, if I'm not mistaken. But even though we still don't know, right?
Eugene,
yeah.
Eugene, you're saying that Pochettino will progress Chelsea. Well, we're still work in progress. We're not completed the article yet, so we may have improved even more.
Yeah, I understand. But the problem is that, as you see it now, right, Stone is not 100% fit, right? Madison is carrying a niggle. Solomon is out now. We are collecting injuries along the way. So that's my fear. By the time we meet Chelsea, we could be depleted, right? By the time Chelsea play us, right, they could have clicked and gotten stronger. So, but guys, okay. Apart from that, let's go to the next week game, right? We're going to be playing Luton. Okay, where's Harry gone to now? All right, Harry just disappeared. We'll be playing Luton, guys. I've already done the Man City. Sorry, where's Mani gone? Mani, okay, Mani. It's not Harry, it's Mani. Mani's got his internet problems. He'll be back. Yep, Mani's coming back again. Right. Let me wait. Mani, get back. Mani on. Okay, Mani's back on. Harry's here. Sorry, Harry. I thought it was you. Right. Okay. We'll be playing Luton, right? I've already gone through most of the other teams, right? Chelsea is playing next week. Chelsea is playing who? Burnley. Yeah. Arsenal's playing M City. We've got that settled. Guys, we're playing Luton away. Are we going to lose or are we going to win? Arthur.
Okay. We're going to win 5-0.
Oh, right. Harry.
3-1.
Okay.
Tottenham.
Prithvi.
I'll go with what Harry said. Yeah, it's 3-1.
3-1. Nippon. Spurs away to Luton.
Is it at Kettleworth Road or White Hart Lane? Sorry,
we're playing away.
Oh, away, Kettleworth Road. I'm going Luton Town 2, Spurs 4.
Oh, 4-2. High scoring game.
I'm going for a high scoring game.
Yeah, okay. Mani?
3-1. Spurs.
Who? Mani, 3-1 to who?
I said to Spurs. I don't think you heard me. I mean, look,
Okay.
my
3-1 to Spurs,
hotspot's
yeah.
been playing with me. It's normally been very reliable, but for some reason it's acting all wrong.
Yep. All right. Mani's got a bit of internet issues, right? Okay, 3-1 to Spurs.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're coming to the end of the show. Any last thoughts, Arthur?
Not really. I just hope we can get over the injuries quickly, and come January, let's hope we bring in some new backup.
Yeah. Harry, shout out to your channel and what other shows you're doing. And
the
of course.
TV. So I've got a show in just over an hour ish. Also, we need to start planning for January from now because we're still short in defense, regardless of the injuries. And I know they're already looking at Jota. The one who used to play for Celtic. So he's, I think, a January target already. We need to go out and sign 3 to 4 players in January because in order to maintain this level that we're at, we're going to need to reinforcements. So whether that means just being in the top 4 or more, I don't know. But obviously, we need to see where we are before we go into January. But we can't make the same mistakes we make every year where leave it to the last minute. Just get 2 players. I think we need at least 3, if not 4, in January. Yeah.
Okay. Prithvi, last thoughts?
Just hoping for our injuries to be settled soon, just like Arthur said. And also, Harry mentioned about the defensive situation. Yeah, I think we have a good chance of getting Todibo the way the news is coming, but I'm not really sure. Again, we always have a way of uh, you know giving out smoke and mirrors to the fans, and then at the end of it, nothing happens. So yeah, that's a huge hope. But yeah, here's to winning in the next match as well, and come on, you Spurs.
All right. Nippon, last thoughts, and doing any shows lately?
Yep. Later tonight at 10:30 p.m., I will be going live on NS Sports TV, which is my channel, for my weekly football podcast. We will be discussing the football that happened throughout midweek.
Okay, that's fair. Mani, last thoughts?
Last thoughts. Arteta, get your act together. Get some proper reinforcements. Treat some of the players you have with a little bit more respect and understanding. And make sure you win the Premier League. I don't want another FA Cup. Not even the League Cup's enough for you. If you can't get your act together, you either, it's simple, it's short and sweet, shape up or ship out.
Yeah.
All right, that's a strong message to Arteta. But before we go, big up to the guys in the chats. Big up to Guguma. Sorry, haven't had time to read out your messages today. Chifam, right? Actually, prefer football when there was no VAR. Honestly, to tell the truth, VAR is not the problem. It's the officials running it is the problem, right? But VAR now actually is exposing a lot of people call corruption.
Shortcomings.
Right? Yeah, and shortcomings and corruption. Chun Yao, a big time supporter, and you, sorry, haven't had time to read out your most of your chats, right? We are not the finished article. Ange hasn't long enough to get it done yet, right? We are not. I know. Of course, JP, big up to JP from Tottenham away. Thanks for your support, right? First yellow was a persistent fouling. The fouling is chicken fouling. Persistent fouling. Big up JP, right? Yeah. And of course, after you got the other
what's ironic is that you've got a cockerel as part of your emblem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right? No pun intended, right? We got the JP.
Yep.
Right. Of course, Jordan. Jordan was here earlier with us. Right. Who else we got? Elias was on here. Amir. Big up to Amir. right? Chris Agamba, big up to Chris Agamba, the only one Agamba. Of course, big up to Brian Daigle, my brother. At the moment, he's back in Toronto. Big up to Brian Daigle.
Big up Brian.
And of course, Lakshan Kumar, right? And of course, let me not forget, I think somewhere around here, Uncle Rods was also in the chats, right? Big up to Uncle Rods, right? I know he wasn't happy about the scenario that's happened, but it is what it is, right? Guys, thanks for your support. Thanks for your time, right? Don't forget to please hit the like, right? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And of course, leave you out, right? And here's the outro. Earphones, careful. And not to forget, and as always, leave you out.
Harry,